When Nioh 3 first got announced, I completely lost it and just had to give its alpha test a try. But how does it compare to the first two games, and is it worth it for someone who's never played Nioh or is a beginner to Souls-likes? How's it going, guys? Mike here, and after spending a few days playing the Nioh 3 alpha, I wanted to share my thoughts on it as well as whether or not I'd recommend it to beginners of the series. But before we get into that, if you're new to my channel, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you never miss a video. Now, first off, this game was a welcome surprise in 2025, and I seriously enjoyed the alpha. I mean, no one really expected the third game to get made because it's been a few years since 2 came out, and the game we got after that is Rise of the Ronin, so a lot of us were skeptical as to when it could get launched until it officially got revealed. And I gotta say, Koei Tecmo pulled a fast one by both revealing the game and shadow dropping the alpha on the same day as the announcement. And I gotta say, after playing it for the first time, it is very different than Nioh 1 and 2 in a good way. For starters, Nioh 3 is the first game to feature an open world structure in its missions, and I honestly wouldn't compare it to Elden Ring because Elden Ring is very different in terms of its combat as well as the aesthetic and whatnot. I would actually compare Nioh 3 more to Rise of the Ronin. In fact, I feel like Rise of the Ronin was Koei Tecmo's way of experimenting with the open world structure in order to incorporate it into Nioh 3, and I honestly think the game's been in development for a while because it looks amazing, not just from the gameplay reveal, but also from the alpha as well. I was very impressed with how fluid the combat was, and one of the things I like about the open world is that it really accommodates the excruciating difficulty of the combat, which was a major complaint I had on the first 2 games. I mean, in the first 2 games, it was extremely difficult to fight enemies, and even on the first boss, I needed to do the multiplayer. But the thing about Nioh 3 is things are much more balanced, and even if you lose to enemies in the main story, you can use the open world structure to explore uncharted regions, level up, get some more on Rita, get new items and equipment, and even grow stronger so you can even over level to take down these guys. And I think it's a great move on Koei Tecmo's part because for those who've never played Nioh, the combat is very different compared to other games because you need to have a lot of boosts and buffs in order to take down enemies properly. Another great new gameplay addition is the ninja style, which is great for people who don't want to play as a samurai and fight close quarters. In fact, this was probably what I mained as the whole time I was playing the alpha. First of all, the ninja's extremely fast and can do some pretty cool air attacks. Although they're not full combos, you still have the power to perform some decent moves when taking on tough enemies like giant killer bees and whatnot. The ninja's also great with size and dual blades, and you can also throw shuriken and kunai as you try to take down enemies from below. I had trouble figuring out the mechanics at first, but eventually I got the hang of it. I'd also highly recommend it for beginners of the series, especially because the samurai is hard to play as if you're not used to buffing and fighting close quarters. In fact, the ninja is a great addition, especially considering you could basically run over rooftops, and it's pretty good when you're trying to be more agile on your feet when trying to run away from enemies. I'm actually guilty of this because it's been a minute since I played the first 2 Nioh games, so I had to run away from a lot of stronger foes in order to level up and in order to stay alive. Now, as with the first game, it also brings back some familiar mechanics, including the guardian spirits, shrines, which serve as your save points in the game, and Amrita, which is your main currency you use not only to purchase items, but also to level up. Now, in terms of Nioh 3's place on the series timeline, it's set after Nioh 1 and Nioh 2, and it follows a customizable avatar who is none other than Takechio Tokugawa, who served as the main inspiration for the critically acclaimed FX series Shogun. I think it's pretty cool that they're still going off of historical events, especially since other games with samurai like Ghost of Yotai seem like they're going completely off tangent. And I gotta say, I'm really fascinated to see where this game goes. I mean, sure, it's a work of fiction because these events didn't actually happen in that timeline, but it still warps historical events so that they're somewhat accurate. And I gotta say, I loved it. I'm also wondering if characters like Hanzo, William, Okatsu, and Mumyo from the first 2 games could make an appearance in the third. I mean, technically it is a sequel, but at the same time, time, who knows, they could be fightable bosses. I mean, if you guys recall in Nioh 2, William was a fightable boss towards the end, and he also played a major role towards the end of the game as he was hunting down a dangerous Spanish occultist named Maria. I also think it's kind of trippy how he ends up marrying Okatsu and even having a kid with her, which could possibly be further explored in this game. I mean, I really feel like we haven't seen much of Okatsu since the first game ended, but I think that's also because she probably chose to settle down, have a life with William, and who knows what happened to her next. Either way, she could make an appearance in this game, and I'm very curious to see how this plays out. But all that aside, I loved the alpha, and I'm definitely picking this up on day one. I mean, from the moment I set foot in the game's world, I was really impressed with this combat. And unlike Wolong Fallen Dynasty's first boss, the first boss, Masakage, was actually much easier to beat, even though I wasn't fully leveled up. And in the ninja style, it makes it way easier to dodge his attacks. You also have this cool Guardian Spirit ability that, like the first two games, allows you to transform into powerful forms, which makes the fight a lot easier. Although, you do need to fill up your gauge in order for that to happen. And overall, I would totally recommend this for newcomers of this series, especially considering the first two games are way harder in my opinion. Plus, it's more of an action RPG compared to a Souls-like, and the mechanics are much easier to use compared to the previous games. Also, the performance was surprisingly smooth on PS5, although I passed it to my PC at 60 frames per second. And I've got to say, I was very impressed because I didn't really see a lot of environmental assets appearing and popping in and out, and honestly the frame rate was pretty consistent even when I played in quality mode. Overall, if I was to score just the alpha demo, and this isn't even the full game, I'd give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. While the game's excruciatingly hard and the combat takes some time to get used to, it's honestly a great addition to the series, and it's definitely a must play for newcomers of the series and Souls-like beginners as a whole. Now, the game is slated for a 2026 launch, so it can launch anytime next year, and I honestly could see it launching sometime in March for some reason. Maybe it's because I believe that was around the time that Rise of the Ronin initially launched, but then again, I could be wrong. Either way, it's one of a few Souls-likes I'm really excited about, including Mortal Shell 2 and Code Vein 2, two other games that I honestly did not expect to get made. So it seems like next year is really stacking up, and I'm definitely going to be posting some more content about this in the future. But I want to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think of the gameplay so far? Are you planning on picking this up and recommending it to a friend? Let me know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe to my channel, smash that like button, and tap the bell icon so you're up to date with all the latest gaming news and reviews. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys when Nioh 3 launches in 2026. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Mic Check XP YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload, and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. And be sure to leave your thoughts and insights in the comments section and invite a friend to check out these videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here next week. Take care.